This episode contains sensitive topics. Discretion is advised.
Hi. We're going to talk about sex in video games because I do a lot of one and not a lot of the other. You probably take a guess which one's which. Not super hard.
Haha.
Not really nothing from neither of you. All right. So
But you said it wasn't hard. We don't need to guess if it's not hard.
see, why couldn't you have said that before? That would have been a great pun. Or did you have to think of it?
No, I just was waiting because I thought you were talking to the audience.
They're always here. They're always being talked to, technically, which is a scary thing to think about. But essentially, I wanted to jimmy rig an idea I had for another show. It didn't work, so now I'm just gonna make it work here somehow. Despite one of these people not really knowing anything about games over the age rating of T, because they just don't play them for some reason, even though they're an adult.
Because they're boring.
Hey, Nintendo fanboys are starting to get their adult-only games too, okay?
What? What are they getting?
Nintendo has adult-only games on their shop now.
Yeah,
They don't-
if you look
they-
through their shop, there's tons.
They have 0 adult-only games because Nintendo does not publish adult-only games. They publish
No.
M-rated games.
You need to look.
I know because I have 1, 2, 3.
They may not officially be adult only, but they're letting games through that aren't censored and stuff like they used to
They're
be.
definitely innuendoed.
Oh, there's some where there's one where I was just looking through the Nintendo store for the tag adult, and I found one that was either super cheap or free, and played it, and it had it wasn't animated, but it was sex scenes were in it.
Uncensored sex scenes?
I'm trying to remember if I saw anything, because it was it was a drawn picture they would show, and then it would it was really quick. It was probably a little bit more than Mass Effect, but not as much as a porn site game.
All I know is I scrolled through the free games, and there was a bunch there. And there was a lot of those games that was dating sims. But
Cool.
showed a lot more cleavage.
It's a good place to start with. I have a Vita, reluctantly, and the Switch is just the Vita replacement at this point, or what the
Yeah, it's
Vita
better than the
wish it would have been. The adult games that are super cheap, they all kind of suck.
I mean, sure, they don't have quality content to them, porn wise or gameplay wise.
That's a problem for me. Either have an okay game and really good scenes, or have bad scenes and a really good game.
Well, if it's free, what are you expecting?
At this, where we are at with gameplay development wise, something half decent, considering I can go out and get Blender and Unity and make something in a day, because I did that as part of the research for this episode. My friend showed me how to use Blender, and I then gave him $10, and I'm stop. This is hard. I understand. You can do a lot with Blender, which I kind of get why people are starting to use it for their own indie games.
So what you're saying is our listeners are all going to get to play a game made by you in a day?
No.
It has tons of sex.
It has good titty jiggle, because Sender and Kagura is an excellent resource for that, which we'll get into later. But I feel, especially for Nintendo, because they'll let certain things slide. Well, not slide, but there was an article about a dungeon defending card game coming to Switch that was rated M for sexual content. Well, not content, but themes. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, that sounds interesting. A fucking card game that's a tower defense. I don't know how the fuck that's gonna work. And then they were like, haha, just kidding. It's a little too adult. I'm like, where would the scenes even go between tower defending in a card game? Because the card game has no sexy pictures.
Where do the Honey Pop games go between match 3 and a porn game? They do it.
That's us. That's also something else I wanted to talk about. The Honey Pop games, you can get patches for to uncensor them. Nintendo went, oh wait, it's coming to PC too. Oh no, you can't put that on our system. No, thank you. And I'm like, so that's why they pulled it. But you can't even mod this. You can't put that patch into the Switch because it just doesn't work. I'm like, do they not know
there
how?
There are people who know how to.
The INI files are just don't match and line up with the Switch's architecture. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So you can mod the game on PC, you cannot mod it on Switch, and Nintendo still was like, none of that. Not my good Christian console. And I'm like, what? Y'all got mad over a titty jiggle that's not on the Switch but on PC, and went, no sir, we don't do that here. And then I look up at the Cinder and Kagura games I have, and I'm like, but those are allowed? Help?
Well, I know Galgun Returns just came out on the Switch.
Yeah, I have that. It's in my head. It's literally another research game I bought. And when my mom was like, "What you buy all these games for?" I was like, "Research." I'm like, "Research for what?"
Put these in your taxes next year?
No, we don't make money off this podcast. I'm in the first level of Galgun, and I'm like, I get where this game could go, but right now I don't. Where's the horniness? I don't see it. Like Cinder and Kagura, front and center. And then there's a good game behind it. So, I know, Minka, you have one of the Sinrin games in your Steam wishlist. Puce, you have any idea what that is? Like,
what game?
Cinder and Kagura?
It sounds like I have heard of it. How do you spell it? CNRANKAGURA. Popped up after I spelled Sunrun. Nope, never heard of it.
Would you like to explain the concept of Cinder and Kagura to our friend here, Minka?
I'm having to look. I have over 1,700 games, and I've played maybe like 20 of them, so I'm trying to look it up really quick.
Do neither of y'all play y'all? Well, I don't really play my games when I ain't got no whole lot of time.
I was gonna say, if you have a Steam account, you've played.
I do have a Steam account.
4 games in your Steam account.
Are you sure I have this game?
Factual.
No, you don't have it. It's in your wish list.
Oh, in my wish list. Let me. Okay.
Because even then, you've got like 500 games. How do you keep track of all these games in your wish list?
I don't know. If I want it, I just throw it in my wish list, and then I get emails, and it's like, it's on sale, and I'm like, cool. I can't buy it, so it'll just stay there. Okay.
I feel that.
Hold on.
I deeply feel that.
From the cover art, it looks like a bunch of girls. Of varying size and shape. That's all you can get from the cover art.
That's all you got. So, for my 2 uninitiated friends here, they're shinobi. They do not call themselves what is it, Kunoichi? Kunoichi?
Yeah.
What's the Japanese?
Kunoichi.
They do not call themselves that. They are shinobi, which I find very interesting.
Okay.
Because specifically female ninjas are called kunoichi because they do specific things like research and seducing men to sleep with them and giving them their secrets so they can go back to their village and, spy shit. So on first reaction, I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting and cool. And then it turned into a hack and slash. And I'm like, okay, not what I wanted, but it's still fun. And then they were like, hey, titties. Like, titties. Not full nipple, but titties. Jiggly titties. Big titties. Small titties if you're into that. Because we know one person here is into that. Just the flattest of chests.
There's
right,
a
right,
pinball
Puce?
game for this series.
Yes, I have it. It's actually a really fun pinball game.
That was the fourth image that popped up, and I was like,
Yeah.
is this the like volleyball game of this series? And no, it's pinball.
Actually, oh man, I never really.
What's that game with the
Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball?
No, it's got the naked ladies who also fight.
Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball.
Yeah, that's it.
I just said that.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
You heard something and you were just like, no, it's not that. And then I said the exact same thing. And you were like, yeah, that one.
Yep. I'm
Have
still
either
half
y'all-
asleep.
Have either of y'all played any of those 4 games?
The Dead or Alive?
The beach volleyball games particularly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I played Dead or Alive. That's as close as I got.
I did not
So you-
get to play the newest one that got censored for the PlayStation in the
It's
United States.
uncensored. It's uncensored on the Switch.
See? There you go. You just told us that the Switch censored everything, but
Switch is not adult friendly.
but the Switch didn't censor
It's
that,
still
and PlayStation
M-rated.
did.
It's still an M-rated game, and the censoring they did, which doesn't show anything, shows jiggle. You still get to see the jiggle on the Switch. You do not get that for PS4.
Yeah, see?
Game is
Adult
still
friendly.
technically censored. Because in the PC version, do whatever you want.
It's like, is it set that way, or is that with mods?
What, the jiggle or the uncensored?
The uncensored.
Like fully uncensored. Fully uncensored is with mods.
Oh, see, there you go. They didn't even make the
What-
game that way.
They wanted to, but they have a contract with PlayStation, and Nintendo was like, what if we just buy it out? And Sony was like, we don't give a shit. They still have to make a game for us. You know, business
Are
politics.
there that many games with jiggle physics?
There's the entirety of Senran Kagura, which is it's 2 DS games, 4 PS4 games, and a PlayStation Vita game. I know because I have all of them. The SNK Heroines game, which I rebought for research and just to make my cousin salty because woo boy. The Galgun games have it to a degree. I saw enough to see it in the couple of hours I played. And then the Ryza, Atelier Ryza has some, but that's a T-rated game, and the jiggle is not in her chest, it is in her thighs.
I feel like that still applies to a certain community.
It does. So it does with the Ryza. Ryza is very interesting because it's not horny at all. It's actually super wholesome and not quite family friendly, but it's nice. I enjoyed it. Made me want to get the fuck out of my house and explore home.
Is that picture you just sent? Those pictures from the Switch?
Yeah, those are from that game that I was talking about earlier.
Full exposed booby.
I was like, yeah, there's full.
It's not full. That's not. Is that a nipple? Is that a man nipple?
No, those are women nipples on that first picture, and like that is definitely mid-sex. And then on the second one, like you can't see her nipples because of the angle, but he is definitely eating her out and about to grab her boob.
And this is a Switch game I can download right now.
Yes, and it apparently does cost money. I think it was like $4.99, so it was like $5, and I was like, sure, I'll try it.
Was it worth the $5?
If you like games where you go along a static track and have to jump and turn left and right.
Oh, God. It's okay. So it's literally just the bare bones of a video game.
Yes.
So follow-up question.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have rather given an artist $5 for higher quality titties?
I don't feel like $5 would get me higher quality than what this game has if someone's charging their worth.
I mean, at Patreon, you just get it in a bundle.
Oh, I guess that's fair. If you're in like Patreon, then sure, yeah.
So why did you decide to go with game over just static images?
I honestly was curious. Like, this was back when the Switch, like, I first was reading that the Switch was like, we're going to do, like, we're not going to censor stuff. And so, like, there's games. And so I went on there, and this was, like, one of the first ones I found, and it was $5. So I was like, sure, I'll see what it's like. And, yeah, it was, I mean, I got $5 out of it for sure. Like, the gameplay is not super thrilling, but, like, $5 worth of my time.
Because I have no idea what the fuck this is. This looks like a visual novel, which I tend to steer away from because
You got monk brain.
No, if I'm going to read a book, just give me the book.
The story parts all did work very visual novel like.
And if I'm going to do a visual novel, I'm playing Clannad, so I can just bawl my eyes out at the end. Which we won't get into that. It's supposed to be horny, not sad.
Yeah, another game I've never played.
What, Clannad?
Yep.
Well, it only recently just came out, so you don't know Japanese unless you're hiding that from us.
Yes, I just lie to you constantly about everything. I remember every moment of my life.
I mean,
from birth.
You kind of do, so it's not totally out of the realm of possibility. So, what sexy games have y'all played? Because, yeah.
Mass Effect and GTA, as you guys have yelled at me about many times. Those are like the only two.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've been replaying the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and I'm really disappointed with the sex scenes. Like, I understand that it's, you know, they wanted to keep it M, but like they're still just And the fact that like you have this love interest and you get one like scene with them through the entire game, it's just like, no, if I was, you know, on a suicide mission to try to save the universe, I'd probably be like fucking constantly.
Well, that's you and not Commander Shepard. They are.
I am Commander Shepard.
They put the mission first and their love life second, like Chris Redfield.
When I play that game, I am Commander Shepard. Each of us is our own Commander Shepard. That's the point.
Oh, I've never played Mass Effect. It's just not. I don't like my shooty RPGs. I don't know. It's just I can't really do it. I'll try again with Destiny here soon, but
what in the world do you play?
I have 13 Sentinels, One Step from Eden, Crystars, the new Kirby game. What the fuck is that? Mario Kart 8, Pokemon's Legends Arkansas, Adelaide Sophia.
Speaking of Nintendo fanboys,
Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, Spiritfarer, Neo, The World Ends With You, Trials of Mana, Adelaide Ryza 1 and 2. My cousin has 2. Bravely Default 2, Astral Chain, what is that? Crystar? Or Crytales. I can't see anything below that because my other games are there. I see my Final Fantasy case. Like I said, all the Senran Kagura games, Galgun 1, 2, and Returns. I mean, Valhalla, which I recently got.
So I mean, you've got good games.
No, these are just my Switch games. These are not my PC or my PS4 games.
Would you like
Xenoblade? Because God, I love Xenoblade. Fire Emblem. Those are just my Switch games. Those are my physical Switch games. I have more digital games.
So I've got to make it. Oh my God, my brain is not working. Admission. So GTA. I am definitely one of those people that growing up would be like, oh, I'm going to go to the strip club, and then it's just like you get the private lap dance, and then, you know, and then you got to go do it, and you got to stop playing the game.
Really?
Yeah, because it was one of those, like, for me.
Well, yeah, considering your upbringing, yeah, I could kind of see that.
Well, and
they're just pixels.
Well, sure, but like it's the idea. Well, and that's the thing too, is it's just like there's, you know, it's not exactly 100% this way for every brain, but there do tend to be ways that male brains work versus female brains, and female brains work a lot more on mental than physical, and male brains tend to work more on physical than mental. So it's just like I also combine that with me using masturbation as just kind of a utilitarian aspect where it's just like, oh, I'm horny, I should go masturbate because I'm horny and deal with it and done.
Okay. So where you weren't so immersed in the game, you're like, damn, I gotta go masturbate. It's just, oh, it's kind of hot. I guess I'll go do it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm turned on now. I should go take care of it. Okay.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh my god, this is the hottest thing ever. It was just like the idea of like, oh hey, this is sexy, you know? It's like the idea of it. So
yeah, because that's like mostly where this conversation I wanted to have stem from is sex in games has been kind of like actual legitimate sex is just a little messy in games. But sexual themes pretty fucking good. Won't lie. There's I have Haven. I forgot the name Haven because I put it on my bed because me and my friend were talking about it. I don't think there are sex scenes in Haven, but they definitely talk about having children and reproducing. And if you don't know what Haven is, an interracial couple, which I have to specify because if you just think it's a regular couple, then you are sorely mistaken. They escape their planet and start life on a whole new planet. And they're like, well, starting from zero. And the conversation of kids comes up, and I'm like, oh, them niggas gonna fuck. Then I don't know if they fuck or not, because I haven't opened the game yet.
well, then you run into the whole classic Adam and Eve scenario where it's like, oh, now if you really want to repopulate, you've got to get into the incest.
So they're the only ones of their race on that planet. I do know that, but because they are a couple, it's like, oh, what's the word? Starts with an E. Ethical problems. I'm like, man, this game, I hope this game is really good because it's setting up a lot of ideas, and I'm going to be real sad when it's not what I want it to be at all. But the gameplay is good, so we'll take that. But like, I understand why developers can't just put like straight up sex in their game, because then it becomes an adult only rated game.
Well, while you were gone, we were talking about the fact that in GTA, I just didn't even care about the strip clubs.
So for you, like when you play video games, you're like, this is not where I go to for like my horny, sexy stuff.
95%.
What about the other 5%?
No. It's just a game to me. Yes. Like I will admit, in Mass Effect, they do. Many
but again,
very sexy women.
I feel like it's a letdown. I feel like there's not enough.
But the sex is not like, oh, I want to get.
Oh, see,
explore that love line. I picked my favorite. I picked one for the playthrough.
Yeah, see, I was so mad, like, because this time I did Liara the whole way through, which you don't really get much with her in 2, aside from a little bit in the DLC. But, like, even then in the third one, like, she's on my ship the whole time, and I'm constantly talking to her, and I'm just like, hey, you know, I would love to just be able to walk up and, like, kiss you and tell you I love you, but I can't even do that. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, if I'm in a relationship with somebody in a game, let me romance them. Let me be sweet with them.
What games are you
maybe
playing?
I just
I can't do that.
want more from my games. I was like, a sex scene is and all is great, but like it's the long game. It's all the romance. It's the sweet stuff, the connection, all of that. That's where it really is. A little bit.
Was there none of that in Mass Effect?
Yeah, I was like, it usually was like, oh, here's one scene, and you have this conversation, and that's it. You answer like one question, and if you answer it right, then your romance continues later. And then like there was like 3 of those in each game, and then you'd have a like very mild sex scene, which, I mean, some of them were still hot, but like they just were short. They, you know, each one was like maybe 60 seconds at best, and like that's it. Like you don't get to go in and like really have romantic conversations with them or anything.
Man, even playing the Legendary copy a year ago, I don't remember that very well. And my brain must have just played up.
See, and I think that's what my brain did too, because this was the first time I had played them since, like, because I played 1 when it came out, 2 when it came out, 3 when it came out. So this is the first time I was playing them, like, right in a row, and I just kind of was like, That's a little bit of a letdown.
Boom, boom, boom.
Damn, I feel bad for y'all. I mean, I don't get any sex scenes in my games, so it's just like, well, I get to look at attractive women. That's cool. Normally they aren't dressed for any occasion that would require them to
a
wear
fun
said
thing
outfit, but,
that I have found
there.
is on the Skyrim Legendary Edition and now the Anniversary Edition, there is a mod because they do have the modding on Xbox for certain mods.
Console now. Well,
is
it just
think
Xbox, or
PlayStation
does
might have it as well.
PlayStation have
I
it
know
as well?
they didn't have it for a while, but I think they might have it now, but I'm not sure. But like they made sure to remove all like the adult only mods and stuff. But there's one that was like a lingerie mod that was in there, and I found out that there are certain tops that like basically remove the bottom, so you're supposed to have panties on the bottom as well. But if you don't, you can still get a bottomless female character running around in the game on the Xbox. So don't tell Microsoft.
So like, how
honestly, it's more just
is that
funny
to have?
that like I've got this companion who's running around like half naked with me, killing all of these things. So like, because Skyrim is not really a world where running around naked would be smart or beneficial. So it more just makes me laugh.
No, not at all. Because in all the Sinner and Kagura games, you can effectively strip the girls down to like being naked. Because if a sword comes across your fucking clothes, it's gonna rip. So give them props for innovation for that. But I'm not really here to run around beating the shit out of people naked for the Sinner and Kagura games. I'm very invested in this story because they just did something very not different. It's not new or different, but it's interesting. And then they went, hey, we're just going to reboot the series because we got bought out by Sony. So you're going to get some features taken away. We're going to keep jiggle physics because that's what our whole company's based on. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine, I guess. But because when I bought the newest game, my cousin was like, why are you still doing this? I'm like, I want to see how the story ends. It's like, what? Like, I want to see if someone dies, people are going to graduate, are these kids going to actually save the goddamn world again? Like, what's going on here? It's like, but the half naked girls, you're not really like, no, not really. It was cool the first time, but if your story's good enough, we won't care about your sex. I think that's a solely Japanese thing, because you being disappointed in Mass Effect and you being not disappointed, but not caring about any of the sex in GTA is a very American thing. Most of my American friends, they normally just dart straight towards the strip clubs, but it's not fun. They just kind of sit there and go, woo. And I've always thought that
doesn't faze me at all when that stuff's in the games or not.
What about your brother? Because your brother's a degenerate as well.
I have zero idea. I just know he's got a lot.
Yeah, I don't like. It is kind of one of those things that I don't know is kind of weird for me, and maybe it is because again, a lot of times masturbation is more utilitarian and stuff, and so like when I get horny, it's like, okay, I'm gonna take care of it, unless I'm like doing some scene in a BDSM club or whatever. But like, so for me, a lot of these games, it's just like, oh, you've put in this fan service, and like this person's naked or they're doing whatever, and it's just like, it doesn't actually add to the game. It's just like oh, okay, it's there, and then like either it makes me horny or it doesn't, but like it doesn't actually, like you said, add to the gameplay really.
And that's true of most games. And then you get things like Omega Labyrinth Life, where making the girl's bust size bigger will make her stronger, so you get a better character. And I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I like it, mostly because it's funny. But you've correctly implemented. Thank you. awkward sexiness into game mechanic to make game effectively better. Why is other game developers who are like pushing the whole sex in games not doing that as well? I don't understand. Because the game sold very well for Switch. It sold much better than what they were expecting. So we're expecting not a sequel, but another game.
I
in the next
think
year
there are a lot
half.
of people that just think, oh, sex sells. So it's like if we just put sexy in it, quote unquote, like it'll do better. But like, yeah, they don't actually put thought into how to implement it. Whereas a game like that has said, oh, here's a way that we can actually make it part of the gameplay. So it's like, it's titillating, but like, also it's a part of the game that's going to make you better at the game.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mink is making your words sound smart.
Just putting them together more coherently, because I was not expecting you two to be as dead and not unprepared, but just you're just both kind of here.
To be fair, we came into this conversation knowing I don't know almost anything about sex and games.
Well, you should have played more sex and games when you weren't at work.
It's not that interesting to me. We already been over this.
Still force yourself to. If you force yourself to do it enough times, you'll like it. I feel like band kids can hide it well, because when you're marching, it's very noticeable when a man's just like, damn, his dick's kind of hard. It's
Maybe
hard to
marching
march,
band is
so.
a different story. We didn't have marching band. But I like in just kind of thinking more about this, like I definitely do feel like there are games that I'll throw on my wish list because I'm like, oh, that looks sexy and fun, but I don't know like if it would actually be a good game or not. But like the ones that I have actually bought, I don't have a ton, but the ones that I've actually bought are the more like graphic novel type, because it's just like, no, I want that story to go with it. Like, yeah, the sex may be a part of it, but I want the romance. I want the leading up to it. I want the like, oh, like you're going to do all of these things beforehand, or if it's a more kinky story, you know, like you're going to like fuck me up before this happens and all that kind of shit.
Okay, so I because I'm very, very invested in just games in general. So I understand where you're coming from as a consumer. That would be a PR nightmare for anyone actually trying to develop and publish said game. However, that's why you don't really hear about these smaller games for
Switch. I was just gonna say, yeah, like any of the ones
like,
that I have or that I've seen that are a little bit like more of that rough, like I've never seen any advertisement for them, anything. It is always just kind of a like either word of mouth or like streaming or perusing through one of the game stores and being like, oh, hello.
Yeah, because I'm gonna assume you can't really put that on Twitch, and you can. Twitch ban list is strange. It's got some things that 100% should be there, and things that kind of shouldn't.
Yeah, I really want to like
really argue with that.
Take Twitch's ban list and like go and stream on OnlyFans with just those games.
Oh, there is a Twitch competitor. I say that with the biggest sarcasm and air quotes, that essentially lets you play games with like sex and just degenerative bullshit in them, and it's just they haven't figured out why it's not really catching on. I'm like, I don't want to watch someone do that.
Which competitor? They have like 1,000 that are just tiny.
I would have to go through the article and look, because I remember this being a thing. Because I got a targeted promoted tweet, and I'm like, what is this shit? Get this shit out of here. It's even purple like Twitch too.
It's called Twatch.
Wow, they're trying hard.
No, I would have to go back and look. It's still up today, because I made an account, and I like, oh, I know you from Twitter.
Do they let the streamers use like sex toys and stuff? Because like just watching someone play a game wouldn't be super great. But like if all of a sudden you can interact with them and do shit to the sex toy that's inside of them while they're trying to play, like I think that would make it more fun.
Imagine if Chatterbait just lets you play video games too, and there you go. That's their website, which I'm pretty sure you can just play games on Chatterbait. So I'm just like, what? Like, what? Why? What is your existence here for?
Okay, on the note of streamers and interactivity, I was scrolling through TikTok, and I'm on the kinkier side of TikTok.
Oh God!
And one girl in her Discord community, her and her boyfriend / Dom, did an hour's worth of interactive playtime where everybody watching got to vote and say what would happen to her. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sure other people have done it, because I've had that idea as well, where it would be like, oh, I've got a guest today, so it's like you guys can, like choose what they're going to do to me or whatever. Like, I'm sure it's been done plenty of times.
Yeah, but that was the first time I'd heard about it. I just thought that was crazy.
You don't really use cam sites, do you?
Nope.
They do be kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes I'm just like, I'll just go watch a video.
I feel like there are a lot of girls who don't really like understand how to make it fun and exciting. They're just like, oh, I'm here. Here's my tits. Give me money. And it's like, and they still do make money, and I power to them, because like women are sexualized all the time, so why not make money off of it? But I feel like the ones that do really well are the ones that know how to be entertainers, just like on like YouTube or Twitch or anything.
Man, I was gonna make a jab at someone. Just like, I'm not gonna do that. I don't know them. I don't know their life.
Look at that. Look at Oak getting all salty and ready to call people out.
I wouldn't call it salt for calling someone out on their actual bullshit, but So, fair. Based off what you have told me, Minka, did you play shitty sex
I've never really done any of the online sex games, and I think a lot of that spurred from the fear of like viruses and stuff. So it's just like
fair.
I've seen the ads and everything when I was on porn sites, which were probably just as risky as playing a game or whatever, but like, no, I never really got into them. Well, and that's the thing, is like, I don't click the ads, but like, I guess because I had that fear when I first was getting into it and everything, I never really looked further into it to see if like, like if those are the kind of games that you could play just on Flash, or if you had to download them or not. So no, I never did get into them.
I'm gonna assume you also did not, Puce.
There were a couple that I tried on a lot of those like popular Flash sites.
Did you enjoy any of them?
No, they usually ended up being absolute dog shit.
So, thank you, because I've gotten into an argument with my friend. He was like, they'll need to be good, they just need to get the job done. I'm like, well no, if you're advertising your Flash game, your game should at least be functional.
Yeah, most of them were not functional.
Like, because I haven't played Cookie Clicker, because I'm a stupid gacha game player and a card game player. Do you really just click the screen? Is that all you do?
Yeah, and most of them it was like that. And there was usually not any animation. It was just more like flash of different images.
Well, see, even the newer ones that have to like, like you're pushing this button to make it like more intense, or like blah blah blah, and so like the animation changes. Like I'll see some of them pop up when I'm doing different like porn video searches, and like the premise or the title will sound great, but then I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, now I'm just watching literally this thing go back and forth like 20 times, and then they click it and then it goes back and forth a little faster, and I'm like, that's not what's gonna get me off.
At least those had motion. The ones I clicked on were zero motion. It was still
right. When I meet you, I have to give you a hug for that one. That's sad.
That's why he doesn't like sex in video games.
That hurts my soul. I wouldn't blame you if that's where it's spurned from. Because 2 nights ago, one of the artists I am a big fan of, even though their art is kind of problematic if you think about it too hard. They were like, I've made a game with such and such. It's just whatever. They hired me to do animations and character design. They did the game part. I'm like, check it out. It's free. It takes like, they said at most it should take 30 minutes. And I'm like, I can kill 30 minutes. Now, it was much like what Minka was, where it was just same looping animation. But it was a puzzle game, and I'm like, okay, you've given me multiple options to solve each puzzle. That means I should get different animations and different scenes based off how I solve the puzzle. And when I tell you it took 2 hours to get all like 8 animations, I sat there and was like, man, I wasted that 2 hours. The animations were good,
more time than I
but
would
like,
have even tried.
Listen, because I would fuck up the puzzle and go, okay, do this time, fuck it up again. All right, do this time, but time
You're
it
like, I didn't even pay for this, and I want a refund.
Like, all right, cool. Well, no, it's not that I wanted a refund. It was they did their job. The programmer did a very good job of going, hey, you can solve this puzzle in X amount of ways to get these different scenes. Are the scenes really worth it? No, not at all. The art's great. We'll never fault that. I guess it's a dude, it might be a woman, I don't know. We'll never fault them on their art and their animations, but the amount of time and brain power it took to get 6 looping animations per set, I'm just like, that really wasn't worth it. But like, it made me think. I'm awake now. Check my clock. Oh shit, it's 7 a.m. I gotta be at work in like 6 hours. I should probably go to sleep.
See, that's why I enjoy text-based games. Because then, as long as you're a good writer, you got me.
Man, then you should love doujins, and you don't. So I am wholly confused.
Yeah, but doujins have a lot of pictures with them. I can't do pictures and writing.
Thank you. I heard that noise. Thank you.
That's just
what do you do,
interesting
Nika?
to me.
I can't.
He's like Connor from Trash Taste. I want my porn to be bad. Why?
I can read doujin.
No, listen, he could read too when they forced him to read it. And I'm like, all right, Connor's got some decent taste, but it's the fact he went, I can't do pictures and words. It's too much.
One or the other.
Why not have both? And have both be good. When it comes to my turn again, I'm making you read doujin. The only reason I'm doing video games is because I bought like 8 games last month and was like, I should probably talk about this.
I don't care. It's one or the other. You can have good writing or good pictures.
No, when it comes back to my turn, I'm gonna make you read doujins. We're gonna figure out how it's gonna work. So I'm gonna make you fucking.
I'm
do
absolutely baffled, but curious. Why not both? Is it just an overload for your brain, or like what?
Because I can either read the story and imagine it in my head better than they can draw it, or I can look at the drawing and
interesting. So what if it's like the text is Japanese or Chinese or something?
Then I don't like that at all. Too much. It obscures things that it shouldn't, and I don't want that.
Can't fucking 3 more weeks. Can't fucking wait for this shit. 3 more weeks. This guy's gotta wait 3 more weeks. I'm excited now.
You better make me read English stuff.
Yes, they're gonna be English. I'm not gonna force you to try to understand a language you have 0 knowledge about.
Okay, I'm just saying. I can fill in the bubbles better than they usually can.
For your specific taste,
bad
yes?
doujins, then.
Okay. Because I was going to say, like, most of the ones I've read, I'm like, no, their stories and their pictures go really well together. But I could see if maybe for your specific taste, you were like, oh, no, that's not quite what I want out of this story. So, like, yeah, I have the story words, and I'm going to create my own images because, like, I know exactly what's going to get me off. Or I have these images, and I'm going to create my own words because I know exactly what's going to get me off. So it's not necessarily that they have bad pictures or bad words, but you just specifically know what is going to work for you better than a, like, random story.
I also think he's looking at like super stylized Western comic doujins and not like Japanese doujins. Because I've
usually
seen
a good mix of both.
I've seen the American stuff and I'm like, oh, one is good but one is bad, or literally the opposite. It's literally what he's saying, but like, why didn't you have someone help you write this? Like
I usually
I can
get into
understand.
good mix of both. I get into some doujin, but I'm usually looking for very specific fetishes, and there's not a lot that exist out there.
No, because they're just like, there's a whole lot of reasons people don't. While Japanese people are just like, why would we do breast expansion when we could just make really good art?
Yes,
Or vice versa.
Breast expansion.
What?
But breast expansion, it's so good.
I mean, I'm going to show you just like a small list of things you can pick from, and then a big list of things you can pick from. And if you don't find something you like, I'm gonna be concerned. I'm gonna be confused and hurt.
Yeah, I really. Yeah, now that like we talk about it, like, yeah, breast expansion is definitely a more Western thing. Like, I don't see it in like hardly any
because
Japanese stuff. It's usually like either 3D or like artists from this side of the world.
I see it in pictures. I don't see it in story format because I don't see why you would base your story around that. You can make it an element, but not the whole story should not be based around that. That is just my opinion, though.
Yeah,
I have
it's
seen
out
some
there for
decent
sure.
Breast expansion. I'm like, okay, this is not too bad, but
I know.
man, we were supposed to be talking about fucking video games. But no, but tangents are good. I have played a handful of bad sex flash games, and I'm just like, oof, owie, my bones. And I've played a handful of like, you literally just made a good game and went, how do I just like cram sex in here naturally? And then they do it and it works. And I'm like, what? Wait, hold on. That shouldn't. Whoa, run that back. This should not be a thing. Time out. And they're all on Newgrounds. Apparently, that's the only place to get good.
Right.
Well, I mean, Flash is dead. Flash died last year, so I guess people are just booting up Unity and going, all right, I guess we got to make a game. Because there's a oh, go ahead.
Ooh.
There is a Shantae Flash game on Newgrounds. And I was like, Shantae's got a very tricky development history. You may have seen her.
Shantae is very ripe
she uses
for
her hair to attack
sexualization.
things. Man, after beating Seven Sirens and just realizing Risky Boots has gigantic tits compared to everyone, I was like, wait, has everything I've looked at and seen just been a lie? It's been people overcompensating?
That's usually it.
I have the screenshot now because I was just like, you could fit like 8 of those in there. Like, what? I feel like everything I've ever been told about Shantae is wrong. And I don't know how to feel. I even talked about it in my other show. I'm like, I couldn't process it. Like, I sat down. I was like, that's not right.
I haven't played the Shantae games, but like, I know what they are. And like, right.
They're super fun.
Right, and I've wanted to play them, but like the first time I actually saw them was like watching speedrunners play through them, and I was just like, well, no.
That's not how you...
no, I don't get intimidated by speedrunners.
Okay, good. Cause
Oh no, I think it's fascinating and like really cool to watch.
I do.
Them like beat games. Like I can watch somebody beat Dark Souls in like 6 minutes, and I'm like, that's really cool. I will never do that. I don't care that I will never do that, but that's really cool. But like watching I mean, they're again entertainers. It
depends on the runner.
So that was the first time I saw Shantae, and just like seeing a bunch of these different characters and bosses and stuff, I was just like, this is just ripe for Rule 34.
No, the designs are done by the main dude and his wife. And when I say that, I mean mostly his wife's doing it and he's okaying them. There are only a handful of Shantae NPCs that just look kind of eh. Everyone else is just like, I know what you're doing here. In the me on behalf of the internet would like to thank you. And then people like to go, okay, but how old is she? I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm not looking
right.
at Shantae.
Have you seen the other characters in there? Come on,
fucking stupid. Like, literally look at Risky Boots, who is in like a midlife crisis 30-year-old going, I need to take this ship and be the queen of the seven seas. I'm like, nigga, if you don't sit your old ass down and just like relax. And then there are the Tinkerbats, and we're not going to get into that. So like, don't you have more than one person you can focus on? Don't focus on this. Focus on something else, because the artist will see that and go, okay, we'll do this and leave this character alone. People don't seem to understand that. And then there's the other handful of people that go, well, I see that. I don't care. I want to make money. And I'm like, well,
then there are people who make a character not fully realizing that the internet is going to explode, like Lady D.
Yeah, man. No, Capcom knew what they were doing. After playing RE7,
I don't know if they realized though that
100% what they were doing.
Especially when they made trailers very focused on her.
Yeah, well, that was for marketing. That's, hey, this is going to be an important boss. Let's not give them any other story beats. So they
obviously she's a sexual character. She does the licking of the fingers and like the blah blah blah. But like, I don't know that they realized that making her extra tall was also going to be a thing that the internet would explode about.
Okay, yes, I will give you that. The internet, they knew Capcom knew that they would run with her, just not, they would focus on her height, which, granted, I don't think anyone saw that coming. Me, who has a little knowledge about marketing, even was like, this is what y'all focused on? I was like, oh, okay, all right.
And then the internet wanted to be
Fair
stepped
play.
on, and I was part of that.
She has big titties, and then I played the game, and I'm just like, you stay the fuck away from me. I will beat the shit out of you. If anyone's going to be over-sexualized, it needs to be the ventriloquist lady, mostly because she's just sad and wants a hug, and I'm like, I'll give you a hug, lady. You look sad.
I haven't played the game, so I don't...
But no one talks about her.
The other characters very much.
Which makes me mad. So I'm gonna watch a playthrough.
Just game. A little bit of it.
Have you played 7? Okay, do not play 8 until you play 7.
Yeah, no, that's why I haven't played 8 yet. Otherwise, I would have jumped into it. But I knew that it was a continuation of 7 with Ethan. And so I was like, nope, I can't play it until I play 7. So...
All right, I'm very glad we had this small side tangent, so I didn't spoil something.
But yeah, like sometimes I think game developers will all of a sudden have a character that explodes in a way they don't expect it to either, sexually, you know?
Yeah, like every Pokemon female ever. I'm like, hey,
what?
Chill out. Please stop.
I don't get that, honestly.
Okay.
At least when it's the trainers you play, I don't get it. The professor lady from a couple games ago. Those characters I get. Okay. Not the trainer you play as.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. These new trainers, unless they are being dramatically aged up, ain't no one touching that. Because they look like children. I'm actually...
I've seen stuff.
So have I. And I'm just like, I've seen enough of the aging up to outweigh what I've also seen. I'm like, I'm gonna just stay over here. Those characters' designs were horrible. I thought those were NPCs when they showed that trailer.
People still love them for some reason.
People are more leaning towards the cat, which I got
the weed cat.
I'm just like, furries, what are you doing? Like, what's going on here? Y'all, yeah,
The new-
like, y'all being extra
new one.
horny, like
Oh, and then
in the new games.
they've shown the new trainers already too.
Go watch the trailer.
I did. I don't remember the trainers being.
Literally, the trainers look like small children, and then they go, here's what the new starters look like. You have a water duck, a chili pepper dragon thing, and then a weed cat, which I thought was a joke until I saw the trailer.
You've seen
like,
some of the other
okay.
Pokemon. You
Not
know
mad.
that like
Confused,
anything
but
they
not
show
mad.
is not going to be a joke. They have literal trash pile Pokemon.
And Pokeball Pokemon.
what?
Both
I'm talking about artists. Like, when I feel like the people who Creatures Inc. and Game Freak sometimes, when they design a character they want to make in that world and have it make sense. From the design standpoint, I get that, I understand that. Why they chose to make Wick super thick, all puns intended, and busty, I'm like, this breaks all the design convention. What's going on here?
Every
I'm like,
now
the
and then a
internet's
low
gonna love
punny
this.
slips through.
And then so people have kind of, aside from a handful of artists, I'm talking like maybe 100 out of a million, still super focused on the Pokemon. At that, I'm just like, whatever, don't care. Everyone else is like, what about this trainer? What about this ambiguously aged female? And I'm like, I don't care. It depends on your art style. So,
No, I'm good with focusing on the Pokemon.
You want to fuck
Get
him a
fucked by him, a
Got you.
champ.
I got you.
Hey, she got big boobs.
Oh, you don't know what a Machamp is. Oh,
Yes, I know. but
Quadruple fisted.
I bet you there's somebody out there who's Rule 34 Machamp so hard that it's a girl with big boobs.
that's Rule 63, where everything's just gender swapped.
Yeah, I bet you it exists.
And the aside from, I think, 7 Pokemon who were gender locked, Pokemon can be male or female. And then there are the legendaries who don't believe in gender. They're like, that's silly. We've evolved past that. I'm like,
Yet those still have been Rule 34.
yeah, that's not Rule 63 though.
Okay, I bet you I could eventually find some very female presenting Machamps.
Yeah, and you'll also find some super masculine ones. I can pull one up right now. I know an
that's
artist,
cheating.
and I'm like,
I'm
how is
saying-
that cheating?
I could find one that appeals to me.
Just throw boobs on it. That's all you gotta do. It's not that hard. You're not that hard to please. No offense.
Yee. I am a simple boy.
Don't say it like that. I'm sorry. That caught me off guard. While we're on character designs, I want to get this off my chest because I won't be able to talk about it for another.
But
3
anyway.
months until we get back to this game, but in a totally different show. I know
fine
neither of you have played Xenoblade Chronicles 1
I
or 2,
owned it at one
so
point.
I'm just gonna vent
I
for a
think
moment.
I've heard of the game.
Okay, Puce,
I
you
owned it
haven't
at
heard
one
of
point.
Puce, you haven't heard of it. Mika, what did you say?
1.
1 or 2?
I played like 5 minutes of Xenoblade Chronicles. I hated it.
That's fine. So you don't like most things, so that's fine. You don't like most good things, so that's fine. Also, that game is very, very slow to start. Jesus Christ, that game is slow to start. I don't even like the beginning of Xenoblade Chronicles 1. I'm just like, hey,
I think
why
it
was this
two I played.
$90?
I don't remember.
Nothing happens at the beginning of 2. You just find a crab. Was it a Switch? Well, they're both on Switch now, so that doesn't help me. We'll put a pin
This
in
is
that,
like
come
4 or
back to it
5
later.
years ago, so I can't remember.
It's probably 1 then, because 2 just turned 4 or 3. I don't remember when 2 came out, because it just
I
sits
think
in
it
my
was
closet.
just after 2 because my friend was raving about it and said I had to try it. I didn't like it.
You don't have a history of playing RPGs, so I would not recommend an RPG to you. So that's bad on your friend, not you. That's like.
Oh God.
What else did you say?
One of the.
What were we talking about last time? That's like giving someone who doesn't like spicy food. It's like, no, it's good, I swear. It's like, but I don't. Okay, I want to get to my point. Hold on, I want to get to my point. So when Xenoblade 2 came out and they showed off Pyra and Mithra, the internet lost their goddamn mind because they're like, these characters are over-sexualized, blah blah blah, and then everyone got real quiet once the game actually came out, and we saw all the other Blades that came out, and then the focus shifted towards them. And even then, it was just one rabbit who has very bad proportions, but is designed by a Japanese hentai artist who is a woman who literally was like, I designed her after myself. And then when you see them next to each other, you're like, this is just you but a rabbit. In heels. Because you're short, because you're Japanese. So, you know what? The internet can be mad, but goddamn, are you single and do you want children? I do not understand why people are getting mad about the over-sexualization of a character when the character is a fucking 1,000-year-old computer processor that just looks like a woman, 2 has her own thoughts and feelings, and 3 you don't even. Pyra and Mithra, while they are good blades, they do not make or break the game. You can literally go through the game with the worst blade and still come through relatively unscathed, so you're not going to be spending a whole lot of time with Pyra and Mithra. So it just bothers me that the whole internet was like, nope, these are bad designs. When the game went on to win awards for its soundtrack, character design, and it didn't win one for story. What did it get? I think it was a technical award. I'd have to go back and look. Just shit like that bothers me when that's not even the. Yes, they are on the cover of the game. Yes, they are pivotal points of the game. You will not be using them as much as you think. I think Chugga Conroy put in maybe 20 hours in his 200 fucking episode playthrough of Xenoblade Chronicles, where he was like, they're cool, but you have all these other options. It's the current Elden Ring build problem. Everyone's like, Moonveil Katana. Meanwhile, so I can stomp the ground and ice will appear. Yes. I can buff that. Yes. Alright, bet. Stomp. We one-hit KO 2 bosses and was like, what's everyone complaining about? Oh. And then, literally last week, he's like, hey, yo, the Sword of Fire and Ice, or whatever the fuck it's called, it's putting in work for me. Like, I got it to work. And I'm like, Moonveil Katana, though, and he's like, people are stupid. I don't get it.
Oh, I'm starting to think you just needed to get all this out.
I
did.
You
were like, I'm going to have an episode about video games so I can rant about Xenoblades and Elden Ring.
Here's the only thing I know about... this was I was going to say about bad game recommendations, is all of the people that have been recommending Elden Ring to people who are like, oh, you like Skyrim? Here, play Elden Ring. It's like, fuck you. Yeah, it's been a big thing. And so, like, that's why Elden Ring sales have been, like, so much higher than any other Dark Souls, is because so many people are getting into it not realizing it's a Souls game. And that, like, so a bunch of people are playing it and they're like, this is way too fucking hard. This is not what I wanted. And, like, so are quitting pretty quickly. But like, so many of them I've heard have been like, yeah, my friend recommended it to me because I like Skyrim. And I'm like, you need to go and fucking slap that friend, because this is nothing like Skyrim. Like, aside from it's a fantasy world and there are dragons and you can use swords and bows and arrows and magic. Like, right? I don't know why people get all up in arms about like certain weapons and stuff, because like, especially if you watch any of the speedrunners, like almost all of the Souls games, right? If you watch the speedrunners in almost all the Souls games, it's all about like magic. It's the OP magic spells.
Oh yeah. What was it? I think it's either Ronnie or her mother's magic in general. Just, oh man, I popped the balls on accident. Oops. Man, this game's easy. I'm like, you can do it. You can just one shot a boss with 2 spells. Like, yeah.
People are dumb.
What's everyone complaining about this stupid sword for? Also, if Dark Souls, not Dark Souls, if Elden Ring is a bit too hard, hit up Reddit and go, someone want to give me a build to try? Because you can still just farm stuff and then go collect stuff later. Like, you can bypass event flags and go, taking this item and then going back to the round table and upgrading it and then going to go explore the world and just stab poke. And it's like, oh, man, this game's easy. Why isn't everyone doing that? It's also an option you can do. So this is the most accessible a From Software game has been. So yes, it's hard, but you can make it super easy. If I can beat half of the game not knowing how to play the game because he just gave me the controller and went go.
Yeah, it definitely is like, I would agree. It's the most accessible of them. But, like, I mean, it's still a challenging game. That's still what he wants to make. That's still what he made. But, yeah, if you power your character, like, the right way, then nothing stands a chance.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, you can do whatever you want. While we're on the topic of Elden Ring, Puce.
Yep.
Are you still maidenless?
No. You should. You've been playing it.
That means.
For hours, you've probably had like 100 hours into that game now.
Let me check. Let's see how long I've played it.
Oh my god.
77 and a half hours.
Okay, close to 100. Oh, and you still don't. Okay. I'm not mad at you because that game is very, very big and there's a lot to do. I feel like by that point you should know which ending you want to get.
I don't know at all.
Do you want help?
With what? Finishing
Which
the
ending?
game?
No, not finishing the game. I can't help
Definitely
you. I
the
can help
dung
you
eater ending.
Pick an ending. That's about all I can do. Do not do that. Which
fine, then do the three fingers ending.
Maybe we'll see, because especially how me. That's probably gonna. I think that has the potential to lead into other From Software games.
You don't think that with how much you have to put into Ronnie, you don't think that she'll be the canon?
Not for no. Miyazaki knows there's a sprinkle of horniness in the community, and he's like, here's a small gift. Even though she's a doll, and I saw what you fuckers did to the doll in Bloodborne, and I'm like, he got a point. Some of y'all nasty. Ronnie's just cute though, and I love her voice. How she's going about things. She's super calm, and then she's just like, marry me, and
he gave us Daddy Blythe, and then took him away. It hurts. It hurts.
As he rightfully should have. Well, you got other options like.
I mean, EG is. I do love EG. EG's great, but EG's not daddy. Pope Turtle's not daddy.
And you got your Pope Turtle.
Just
daddy patches.
Let me stop before I spoil things. Let me stop. Man, that's literally where I was gonna go. I'm like, let me stop, because people don't know. Most people don't know who's in the game.
How do they not know?
And if you see him,
yeah, I was like, he's pretty early in the game.
I did run into him.
Because if this is your first game and you don't know what you're doing, you can bypass a lot of things. Like, one of my friends skipped straight over Ronnie, and I was like, go back. And he's like, what? Go back. You ain't gotta finish her quest line. You just need to meet her. And he's like, she's really cool. And then you get her lore, and you're
how does the game progress if you don't go to Ronnie? Okay, because I know that's kind of what leads you to. Oh my god, I just forgot his name, but the general.
Oh, her brother. Her brother?
Yeah.
No, her uncle. Whatever the Gravity Man. I don't know, because Max saw her because the chat was like, go to this place, speak to this woman. I'm like, fair. So every time I've seen someone play Elden Ring, the chat's like, go to Ronnie. And
I'm not gonna lie, I was really upset because the first time you see her, if you haven't played Elden Ring and plan on it, obviously you will want to have tuned out like 10 minutes ago.
I haven't spoiled much. Just once you figure out, do a quest or two.
I was really upset because that first time you see her, she's like, we're not going to see each other again. But, you know, good luck. And I was like, but no, Ronnie, I love you. I want to see you more. And then, like, at that point, like, because I wasn't looking up any spoilers or anything online, and like my best friend who's been playing it as well, she was like, yeah, I haven't seen anything on if she's there or not. And then I got past that castle and I was like, oh, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Puce, just pick Ronnie. Just that's all you gotta do.
I'm not gonna lie.
Or just set the world on fire. You know, that's also an option. That's
not gonna lie. Hot take. I'm not that crazy about Ronnie.
That's fine. A lot of people are very put off by the fact she's a doll and has 4 arms. And I'm like,
oh, that's fine with me.
That's more to hug you with.
I like Melania. She looks hot.
Before I met Ronnie, yeah, it's like, oh, this is best girl, and then I saw something and was like, no, stay away from me. Fear. No. Fear.
Melania's great.
Aside from that, no.
What is her name?
She's real cool.
Oh my god, she's the one that you gave the Valkyrie arm to. Prosthetic. She's a bitch, but she's pretty cool because she fucking fights you in the rotted swamp.
Kind of funny.
Anastasia.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, she's hurt a lot of people's feelings.
No, not Melina. Melina's like the big bad.
That's her name.
This one is she like.
I thought
they are. America, Melina,
M's.
like
they all start with M because I know her name starts with an M too. Oh yeah, you know,
right? But this is just an NPC. This is
centerpiece.
Millicent. That's who she is.
Puce,
Millicent.
She's not one of the gods. Yep. She's just an NPC.
Oh, is that?
She invades. She's the one that has the same moveset as Melina.
Okay. Got you. Okay. Man, fuck Melina.
You guys are saying so many names. I don't know what you're talking about.
Man, you should probably play the game. You've put a bunch of hours into.
It's too late. I already dropped it. I'll come back.
Did you really?
I mean, Elden Ring burnout is real. Like Souls burnout is real. I get it.
I mean, I got to beat the game once before I'm just like, all right, no more. And then New Game Plus is just a joke. So
the older I get, the shorter time I play.
I'll admit I have not officially beaten any of the Dark Souls because I've gotten to the last boss and just been like, yeah, like I haven't even tried to fight them once. I haven't even tried to fight them.
Good enough. No, I feel that. My only claim to fame with the Dark Souls series, outside of knowing lore, which is just regurgitated through my cousin, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I beat the first Dark Souls 3 boss in a speed race with my friend. That's it. So that's all I got. Beat him by like 10 minutes. I'm just like, all right, I'm not playing this game ever again.
And then Bloodborne, I have, like, again, I'm at the last bad guy, but there's like one of the secret bosses that is like a Cthulhu monster, and I'm like, I don't. Probably, yeah. And I'm like, I haven't beat her yet, so like, I can't go on to the end.
Wait. Have you eaten all 3 umbilical cords? Oh, then yeah.
Well, yeah, because I know that if you do that, like, you're fighting the last boss, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, but here's the real last boss. But there's a secret boss that's in a...
Yeah.
It's not the secret ending boss. It's just a secret off the way boss that I had. Like, she's like this Cthulhu, like, tentacle monster. And I went against her like once or twice, and I was like, oh, fuck.
It's not Margot Sweat Nurse, because that's just a shadow.
It was like she's off down below, kind of to the side of like one of the castle areas. In a big cave. It almost...
I know what you're talking about. Pieces over here like...
So...
We still talking about video games here?
Yes.
Yes. Also, so that's something else. Does Dark Souls 1 and 2 have any, like, attractive women? Because all I can think of is the fire shrine relinker, and I'm like, she's kind of cute. And Bloodborne has the doll, and I'm like, stop it right now.
I feel like I've seen. I'm trying to remember. The second one had the enemies that were like the desert witches.
It's like,
I was like, they like none of them were specific characters. They were just an enemy, but like their outfit was pretty nice. I remember grinding to get that one.
And then there's Sekiro, because that has
that one I haven't played
so
because it's PlayStation only, and I don't play many PlayStation games.
Ooh, that lore runs deep. Makes Dark Souls look like a baby's first chapter book. I'm just like, oh my god, there's so much shit.
Yeah, they love to hide that lore.
Ooh. Man, people are still putting together the full official lore video for Elden Ring, and I'm like, it's been like 2 months. Y'all not done? They're like, no. The fucking Elden Ring lore is very cool until you realize this is just the same story as every other From Software game, minus Sekiro.
I did see that they have modded now to where Ranni is not quite naked, but almost naked. So, that ties in.
I don't want that for her. Okay, in the actual game, I don't want that for her. In art, sure, do whatever you want.
Right, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, what does it add?
Leave my
other
life
than
alone.
Like people who want to ogle at things, but like you're not busy fighting shit. Like, yeah.
I can see if it was for like a character model, but not character model. The player model, sure. Ronnie's an NPC. You'll probably spend an hour, and that's like pushing it on screen time with, and that's including your ears or mute.
Okay.
Probably not.
Did he actually mute? I don't know. He's not responding, so good. Yeah, no, even put Ronnie's even on screen at the end of the game for like a minute.
So what do you feel about, why would we tell you what you missed when we told you not to listen?
Listen, I don't listen. There are certain things I will spoil for you because they're not story related, but like gameplay related. But like, this is a story thing. I don't want you to like, if you get it, you'll be like, oh, it's pretty cool. But if you don't get it, you'll be like,
what do you think about the removal of the deathbed vestments?
Okay.
It was a pair of underwear that like basically is almost identical to what you wear when you don't have armor, but instead of it being like tied on the side, it has like little bead stuff, so it's like kind of sexier, but like not really. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I'm like,
this isn't a game I want to mix with sex. I'm just like, no, stay away. It's like Kirby. Don't lewd my little pink puff ball.
Yeah, oh yeah, because Kirby's not into vor.
Black hole. It's kind of stupid, but you know.
And then he ate a bus. And then he ate a bus and a car.
When this is a child who can't consent to that.
He's Kerbussy.
He was no. Can I kick? Do I have the ability to kick someone from a cult? Nope, only you do.
Ha 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 ha.
He was trying to swallow the a wolf's, and the card was in the way because Kirby still does not have fully control over the hypernova. And I'm like, like, you're still a child. That's right. You're a black hole. You have all the time in the world to figure it out. Can't get mad. Kirby lore is weird, fun but weird, and then just really depressing once you realize in every Kirby timeline,
well,
Earth
that's pretty much in all of our timelines.
Yeah, I mean, it's where we're headed, but I don't want to see that in my
But you love Nier Automata.
That has no difficulty. I love Nier Automata because it breaks it reminds me I'm still a person. I'm still a person because of these things. And I'm like, thank you, video game, for reminding me that. That and 2B is really hot.
Yes. The androids,
isn't that
yes.
another game with really beloved waifus?
Please do not lose 2B. After repeating that game story a few times, I'm like, oh, my friend was right. I don't want that. Cosplayers, do what you want. Artists, hey man, let's talk. Let's have a conversation.
You know, I think it's a little too late to tell them not to rule 34.
The game's having its 6 year ever. The game is so old. They're making
Nier is having a crossover with fucking PUBG.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw the trailer and I was like, "What?"
Ew. Ew. Oh, God.
PUBG's trying, guys. They're trying to stay relevant.
They're allowed to try. Will they succeed? That's to be seen.
Oh, that's one of the. I have two things that I keep wanting to bring up. So one of them was Overwatch, and obviously that the characters were able to get pulled out and were used in porn, because that still, I would say, is video games and porn, and sex.
So normally I have a line which I do not want to be crossed. That line does not exist for Overwatch after seeing a handful of videos and just going, didn't know you could do that.
It does, and I feel
Overwatch
like, because Blizzard obviously knew about it pretty quick, and I feel, unless I'm mistaken, I feel like they didn't actually like try to go after it too much. Right, and honestly, I think it was a good thing for the game. I think that it boosted popularity, because that is one of those cases where it's like, oh, now people are looting these characters, so they're falling more in love with these characters, and like, so they're like going to want to see them more, and so they're going to play the game more. And I don't know if that actually happened or not. I haven't seen statistics. I don't know if statistics have been made.
You don't want those statistics, especially after what's happened.
True, and like, and Overwatch has definitely been dying, and I know Overwatch 2 is coming, but like, okay.
That's a maybe. That is officially a maybe now. They will not budge on Diablo 4. Overwatch.
Well, I mean,
Overwatch
that's if the
2
company even exists
in
a year. But like,
I think it will. It's going to be... Microsoft will buy them if it comes to that. And they'll be like, all right, you 5 people fired. Leave
right?
now. Developers keep...
But I feel like that was, as much as possibly the higher corporate people may have hated it, I think that it probably was something that was beneficial for their game.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you on that, because it just was. It made me reinstall Battle.net, play for like 4 hours and go, oh wait, I don't like this game. May, Sombra, and whatever the fuck Farrah's mom
really
is. Everyone else, I'm like, I don't care.
Mercy, Black Widow.
I don't remember who's in the game besides those people. Don't know. Black Widow, stay away from me. You have a history of murdering motherfuckers of
but
every gender.
Going out and with glorious sex. Come on.
No, I don't want that.
No, I want to go to a succubus.
I want to die peacefully in my bed of old age. Well, that's you. And Widowmaker.
That's where I thought our last episode was going.
So the other thing I was going to bring up real quick, though, is there is actually an online game that I have put some time into, and it's, I believe, I don't remember the exact website, but it's basically called Bondage School. Have you guys heard of it? Okay, so it's actually like, it's not very high graphic, but you have, and it is actually like all female characters, so that I don't, like, guys could sign up, but like they're going to be playing as female characters, I guess. But it is actually a BDSM thing, and so like you have all of these things where you can go through and do different, basically mini games. And honestly, the mini games are not super robust. Like, a lot of them are fairly similar, but they also have little like, not really even gambling games, but just a bunch of different little things that you can do to kind of stay occupied. But you also are getting skills in different things as you level up. So like you can get skills as a dominant or like skills as a submissive. And so like there's different things you can do. And then they have chat rooms as well where you can go in and actually like role play with people. So like I would say of any game with sex that I've ever played, this is the one that like has enticed me the most. And I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that a lot of it comes down to player interaction.
Man, white people make this game because I'm pretty sure.
I don't think it is. I think it is a Western game, but
which it's not bad. Just how AAA Western developers handle sex, minus people who make the first God of War game, because that sex QTE was just it does. Exists. I wish it didn't, but it does. So and then like people who have no restrictions and can do whatever they want, I feel like they have a much better chance of making something passable, but not good. Because I still yet to see a good sex game. We haven't talked about erogaze because no one here has experience with erogaze, I'm pretty sure. And I don't want to scar myself because there's one you have to start with, apparently, and I'm not doing that.
I really hope. I know this may not be a thing that happens in our lifetimes or whatever, because there's so much like stipulation over sex and everything, but it's just like I really hope that we get to a point where it's like, no, people can make games about sex and like with sex in them, full on sex, and be able to really just sell them and advertise, and like that it won't be such a sex is so taboo, because it's like everybody, not everybody, but almost everybody's fucking doing it, and like most people enjoy it if they are doing it right, so it's like why does it need to be taboo? Why can't we just enjoy and really explore and make these things better? Like sex in gaming could be awesome, but we're still at that point where so much of it has to be like, oh, well, we can't go past this point, or like we have to be careful that we're not showing this or this, or like sex in comics or like TV shows. Oh, we can't show Batman going down on Catwoman. Fuck that shit. Like it's all real stuff. It's what real people do.
You had a very good point. I just imagine Robert Pattinson going down on whoever plays Catwoman in the new movie. I'm like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Robert Pattinson do it.
Well, they were, they were going to do it in the Harley Quinn comics.
That's the comics. That's not the movie.
It could come to the movies.
But like the older movies,
George Clooney.
I do want to see because it would just be funny. Yes, just like let's stay away from the Dark Knight.
Michael Keaton with his like inability to turn his head without turning his whole suit.
Yes, that would be hilarious. And I feel like that would be a good place to start and like go up from there. But you're right. I do not think anytime soon we'll get a AAA or III developer making a adequate sex game, because there's just too much risk. There is a big enough audience for it, but they don't know how to market to it. They don't want to pay for that type of marketing, and it is a PR and just management nightmare. But it's doable. But no one wants to put in the effort. Which, as a person who knows how these things work, I understand that. But I still want a fun sex game, because like as fun as Senran Kagura is, at the end of the day, I just want to see the girls either die, graduate, or have the story fucking conclude. Because my god, it's been 10 years and you're still in high school. I'm just like, no, someone should be dead, someone should be graduated, someone should take over for the new teacher position. So yeah, haven't touched Galgun yet, but I'm working on it. I'm getting there. It's just slow.
Yeah,
it's
I get it. I haven't played it yet. I bought it because I was like, oh, this sounds exciting. Like, oh
man, you're okay. It's an on-rail shooter.
I
just gotta
played
keep
the hell
that in
out of
mind. Keep your
Pokemon Snap.
expectations low.
It's an on-rail shooter.
That's a totally different thing.
Yeah, you're still. I was like, you're shooting photos. Yeah, fight that. Come back from that.
One game you were literally injecting your own pheromones into the opposite sex to keep them away from you because of an angel's fuck up, which that's the part that kills me. The other game, you're just
No, you're talking about
life of Todd.
You're talking about the original one. I'm talking about the new one.
Did they give Todd a last name? You're just it's just a day in the life of a new Pokemon professor researcher, Instagram person. Mirror.
Yep.
Because I guess there was mirror trees, which I didn't know were a thing, and I'm like, I appreciate Game Freak and the Pokemon Company keeping this whole we're gonna name professors after trees thing a whole
gag.
I truly
I bet Mirror Tree was Googled a lot that day when it came out.
Yes, it was actually. Like, I looked up the Google Trends and like,
No, I didn't know a Mirror Tree was a thing either, so I was definitely one of those.
I'm just waiting for Pokemon to end and make Ash a professor. That's forever. Or at least the show to end. The games can keep going as long as the show ends. I don't fucking care. They don't have plans past a 10th generation. Those are being worked out now. Because they have to finish up Gen 9 and then begin development for Gen 10, which we don't think is happening for a long time because they have to remake Black and White, which no one wants. Like, that game is not going to sell well if it does what Diamond and Pearl did. They have to change things, and they're too scared to change things because they want to make the games exactly how
nostalgia
you remember. Because you remember the games being way better in your head. Or you're just an old person. Because I wasn't super happy with Diamond and Pearl remakes, mostly because I was like, look, they should add some quality of life changes. They didn't. They didn't add the ones I wanted them to. And the game was just over too quickly. I'm like, y'all could have added so much stuff and you just didn't. Yeah, having knowledge about the gaming industry sucks because you get to explain to people why they can't have the things they want.
But we need like, Lieutenant Surge's backstory.
Sense. I hate it. I'm like, yeah, me too. No, we're going to be moving away from the original Kanto region here because enough people complained that they were like, oh, okay, my bad. They will re-release. They will probably re-release Red, Blue, and Yellow on Switch Online once the emulator is available for other developers. Yay. So we'll get Red, Blue, and Green again, or Red, Blue, and Yellow again, and people just won't care because it's too arbitrary, and the new mechanics just are so much better. Just no one wants to.
All right. Do you think we've got enough for this one?
I mean, that's kind of up to Puce. He's been super quiet lately. I think just in general.
I've been enjoying you guys' conversation.
Yeah, that should be a good place to start. Don't loot all your characters, just loot some of them because no one wants to see all that.
All right, give us an outro.
Check us out on Patreon at the Lusty Lounge.
I don't know.
Check us out on Twitter at Lusty Lounge.
Well,
check us out on Patreon at the Lusty Lounge. Check us out on Twitter at Lusty Lounge.
Never mind. Fucking Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. If you like what you heard, consider dropping like $3 on the Patreon. You'll get this episode relatively uncut. There's some things like I have to cut, and there's things that stay in. If you want to see what those are, consider subscribing to the Patreon, or just wait a week and listen to it on Spotify and Google Podcasts until everything else clears, because they're having issue clearing our podcast because we're talking about adult things. And I was like, thanks, Anchor, at least you let me know instead of just keeping me in the dark, so I appreciate that. So we'll be on more platforms at some point. Just gotta wait for approvals.
You can also always join our Discord at Lusty Lounge as well to discuss podcast episodes.